back in the dinosaur age of the 80s. And yeah, I would bring my cassette tapes to the DJs and drive them all crazy. I was relentless.
A private letter from the 1990s just surfaced at auction. Inside, Madonna wrote brutal words about two of Hollywood's biggest stars. She said she'd rather die than be like them. But that letter was just the beginning. At 66, Madonna is revealing decades of hidden feuds, stolen songs, and backstage betrayals. One singer accused her of lip-syncing and said she should be shot. Another dismissed her since middle school. The revenge has been decades in the making. And now Madonna is ready to settle every score. Madonna was born on August 16, 1958 in Bay City, Michigan. But she grew up in Rochester Hills, a suburb of Detroit. Her father, Silvio Chiquan, worked as a design engineer at Chrysler. Her mother, Madonna Fortune, stayed at home and raised the kids. When Madonna was only 5 years old, her mother died from breast cancer. She was just 30. The loss hit hard and stayed with Madonna for life. She later said it made her feel alone and made her want to survive no matter what. It also made her question authority, especially the strict Catholic rules she grew up with. She once said she was just a lonely girl looking for something. But she started to break free through dance. At Rochester Adams High School, her talent stood out. She started ballet at age 14 and trained with Christopher Flynn, who became her mentor. By 16, she was leading school shows and stealing the spotlight. She won a dance scholarship to the University of Michigan. But college wasn't enough for her. In 1978, when she was 19, she packed a suitcase and moved to New York City with just $35. She later said it was the bravest thing she had ever done. To survive, she worked all kinds of jobs. She served donuts at Dunkin' Donuts in Times Square, but got fired for squirting jelly on a customer. She posed nude for art classes at schools for $10 an hour. Later, those photos were sold by magazines like Playboy and Penthouse. Madonna didn't care. She said she had nothing to be ashamed of. She also danced backup for artists like Patrick Hernandez and worked on small shows with artist Dan Gilroy. Her motto was simple. She'd do whatever it took. She practiced for hours without eating and people noticed. She was always first to arrive and last to leave. She joined a band called Breakfast Club in 1979. First as a drummer, then a singer. But she wanted control. She started her own band, Emmy and the Emmys, with her boyfriend Stephen Bray. They played in small clubs like CBGB and the Mud Club. She performed in fishnets and lingerie. People whispered about her wild behavior. But it was all part of the plan. She wanted attention. She wanted fame. She handed out demo tapes, talked to DJs, and refused to be ignored. In 1982, she met DJ Mark Cammons at Dance Tia, a New York nightclub. She begged him to play her demo. The crowd loved it. Cammons helped her meet Seymour Stein from Sire Records. Stein was in the hospital at the time. Madonna didn't care. She walked into his hospital room and pitched herself anyway. It worked. He signed her. Her first single, Everybody, came out in October 1982. It became a club hit, climbing to number 3 on the dance charts. Strangely, the cover didn't show her photo. Some people thought she was black, but it didn't matter. Her rise had begun. Her debut album came out on July 27, 1983. It was called Madonna. It wasn't an easy process. She wasn't always in the studio. Producers didn't always take her seriously, but somehow the music still sounded like her. Bold, fun, and full of energy. Holiday was released as the third single. It became her first big hit, reaching number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100. Then came Borderline in February 1984, which broke into the top 10. These songs took her from clubs to the mainstream. They changed the sound of pop. They gave MTV a new face, and they told young women that they could take control. Then came the moment that changed everything, the 1984 MTV Video Music Awards. Madonna performed like a virgin in a wedding dress on top of a huge cake. Originally, she wanted to use a Real Tiger, but that idea got shut down. During the performance, her shoes slipped off. Instead of panicking, she rolled on the floor. Her skirt flipped. Her underwear showed. Millions were watching. It became a scandal. Annie Lennox called it very, very whorish. Her manager thought her career was over, but it wasn't. It was just beginning. That night turned her into a star. From then on, the VMAs would never be the same. Neither would Madonna. Her second album, Like a Virgin, came out on November 12, 1984. It didn't just sell well, it broke records. It debuted at number 70 on the charts and reached number 1 by February 1985. In just 14 weeks, it sold 3.5 million copies. It eventually hit 10 million in the US alone. She became the first woman to do that. The song shocked people. The lyrics were bold. The religious images upset the church. But Madonna didn't back down. She kept pushing. She kept challenging. The more people complained, the bigger she got. In March 1989, Madonna released a music video that shocked the world. Like a Prayer was a direct challenge to religion, race issues, and sexual norms, all packed into 4 minutes of bold imagery. She appeared in a church, danced in front of burning crosses, and kissed a black saint. The timing made it even more controversial. It came out just weeks before Easter. The Vatican called it blasphemy. Religious groups and family organizations launched protests. In the middle of the uproar was Pepsi. They had just signed a $5 million deal with Madonna, hoping to use the song in their ad campaign. After the backlash, Pepsi pulled the ad, but let Madonna keep the money. Some countries banned the video completely. Italy threatened to cancel her concerts, but none of this slowed her down. Instead, the song hit number 1 around the world and made Madonna more famous than ever. It was one of the boldest moments in pop music history, blending race, religion, and sexuality in a way no one had seen before. Long before it became common, Madonna spoke out for LGBTQ+ rights. In 1991, she gave a full interview to The Advocate, a national gay magazine. Back then, few celebrities would take that risk, especially during the AIDS crisis. But Madonna didn't hold back. She said AIDS was the worst thing to happen to the world since Hitler. That line alone made headlines. She kept speaking out. She supported gay marriage, adoption, and trans rights years before many others. In 2019, GLAAD gave her an award for being a true advocate for change. But her activism didn't come without a cost. She was sued in Russia under strict anti-gay laws. She faced constant backlash from religious leaders who accused her of mixing queer culture with sacred symbols. Still, she never stopped. Even today, she urges her fans to keep fighting for LGBTQ+ rights. Her voice helped bring these topics into mainstream conversations. She didn't just support the community, she helped reshape pop culture. Madonna has never cared much for rules. In 2013, she went to a screening of 12 Years a Slave at a film festival in New York. Instead of watching quietly, she kept texting. After many complaints, the Alamo Drafthouse cinema chain banned her from all its theaters. Their CEO posted it online saying she was banned until she apologized. She never did, but this was just one example. Throughout her career, Madonna has been called out for breaking norms. She wore bold outfits with religious themes, published a book filled with provocative photos, and spoke openly about topics many avoided. She questioned how women were treated in society and challenged the media's double standards. Her shows pushed boundaries, and her refusal to play it safe made her both admired and criticized. She didn't just break molds, she refused to fit in any. In 1985, Madonna starred in a film that changed everything. Desperately Seeking Susan was a surprise hit. It opened in 268 theaters and made over $1.5 million its first weekend. In the US, it earned nearly $27.4 million total, ranking among the top films of the year. Critics liked it, too. On Rotten Tomatoes, 86% of reviews were positive. Pauline Kael called her a goddess. Some even said it was her best acting role. But after that, things went downhill. Shanghai Surprise, Who's That Girl?, and Body of Evidence all flopped. Critics panned them, and she got multiple Rats nominations for Worst Actress. Then in 1996, everything changed again. Madonna starred in Evita as Eva Peron. It was a global success, earning more than $141 million at the box office, which would be about $283 million today. She won a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. She also broke a world record for most costume changes in a single film, 85 in total. including 39 hats and 56 pairs of earrings. It was a major comeback and one of the rare times critics praised her acting. Madonna married Sean Penn on August 16, 1985, her 27th birthday and his 25th. They had met earlier that year while filming her Material Girl video. The wedding was a media event with helicopters flying overhead and reporters watching from boats. From the start, their marriage was full of drama. Fights, rumors, and chaos followed them everywhere. Penn's temper was infamous. He often lashed out at photographers. In 1987, Madonna filed for divorce, but quickly took it back. In 1989, she filed again, this time for good. Around that time, she also dropped an assault complaint she had made against him. Years later, rumors spread that Penn had tied her up and hit her. But Madonna denied those claims strongly. She said they were false and harmful. Despite the rumors and the failed film Shanghai Surprise, their marriage became one of the most talked about relationships of the decade. After her split from Penn, Madonna's dating life made constant headlines. In 1990, while filming Dick Tracy, she began dating Warren Beatty. He was 21 years older than her. Their romance was intense and very public. In her documentary, Truth or Dare, Beatty joked about how she always needed to perform. Their relationship didn't last, but it left an impression. Then came Dennis Rodman in 1994. He was the NBA's wild child, and she was Pop's rebel. Rodman later claimed she offered him $20 million if he could get her pregnant. Their time together was brief, strange, and very public. Before that, Madonna had dated Vanilla Ice. She proposed to him, flipping the usual roles. But their relationship ended after her book, Sex, featured him without full consent. He felt betrayed. Then there were rumors about John F. Kennedy Jr. Some claimed they had a secret affair in Hyannisport. They drank cocktails in glasses engraved with his childhood nickname. No one ever confirmed it, but the story became part of her legend. In October 1996, Madonna became a mother. She gave birth to her daughter, Lourdes Maria Ciccone Leon, at a hospital in Los Angeles. The baby's father was Carlos Leon, Madonna's personal trainer. Lourdes weighed 6 pounds 9 From the moment she was born, the cameras never stopped. Paparazzi surrounded the hospital. Reporters speculated about everything from how the baby was born to how Madonna would raise her. But Madonna stayed private. Her spokesperson said no details would be shared. The birth changed Madonna's public image. She was no longer just a rebel pop star. She was now a mother under constant scrutiny. Lourdes grew up in the spotlight, eventually becoming a singer and model in her own right. But Madonna worked hard to protect her from too much fame, remembering how overwhelming it could be. Behind the scenes, Madonna often clashed with people she worked with. On film sets, she had a reputation for being tough. She wanted creative control over how she looked and how her work was marketed. On Evita, she demanded perfection. She had 85 costume changes and insisted on specific ways of filming her. Director Alan Parker said their relationship was tense but productive. The movie earned awards and Madonna's performance was praised. Even with co-stars like Warren Beatty, there were moments of tension. In Truth or Dare, Beatty made fun of her need to always be on camera. But Madonna didn't care. She called out the double standards. She once said if she were a man, she'd be called assertive. But as a woman, she was labeled difficult. Her attitude upset many in Hollywood, but it also helped her survive in a world that often tried to silence women. Madonna's life in the 2000s played out like a series of battles. It began with her fairy tale wedding to Guy Ritchie in December 2000. The ceremony at Skibo Castle looked like something from a movie. Their son Rocco had just been born, and for a while things seemed picture perfect. But that perfect image started to crack. By 2008, they were divorced. The breakup wasn't quiet. It led to a long, bitter fight over Rocco. In 2016, when Rocco was 15, he refused to fly back to New York. He stayed in London with his dad. Judges from both countries urged them to settle things quietly. They didn't. The public watched every step, every legal twist. What should have been a private matter became global news. At the same time, Madonna's family kept growing. But how she expanded it sparked outrage. In 2006, she tried to adopt a little boy named David from Malawi. In 2009, she tried again with a girl named Mercy, but the Malawian courts said no. They said Madonna hadn't lived in the country long enough. Some called it celebrity privilege. Others pointed out how much money she had given to schools and hospitals there. She didn't give up. She appealed and she won. Still, people questioned her motives. In 2017, she adopted twin girls from Malawi. A judge asked her tough questions. The press called it uncomfortable. The public stayed divided. Some saw kindness, others saw power used the wrong way. But Madonna wasn't just making headlines in court. She was building a brand. In 2010, she launched a clothing line with her daughter Lourdes. It was called Material Girl, named after her famous song. Crowds showed up to Macy's for its debut, but the brand soon faced trouble. A small store in Los Angeles sued Madonna. They already owned the name. The judge said even being the Material Girl didn't give her the legal rights. She lost. Around the same time, she opened her first gym in Mexico City. It wasn't just any gym. It was part of a global fitness brand, Hard Candy Fitness. Her DVDs became a hit, too. Then came her perfumes. Truth or Day Naked sold out fast. They weren't just scents. They were pieces of her. Reinvention was her real business. In 1998, Ray of Light changed everything. The sound was different. It was spiritual, electronic, and full of feeling. She worked with William Orbit and explored new sides of herself. The album sold 16 million copies. It won 4 Grammys. Fans felt the pain, the faith, and the motherhood inside it. In 2005, she flipped the script again. Confessions on a Dance Floor was all disco and energy. It topped charts in 40 countries. The hit hit #1 in 41 of them. She even broke a world record in the UK. At 47, she became the oldest artist to top both the singles and albums charts at the same time. She wasn't fading, she was leading. But fame came with fire. Back in 1990, her video Justify My Love was banned by MTV. It was too explicit, too raw. MTV refused to air it, saying there was nothing they could cut or blur. Madonna didn't back down. She sold it on VHS. 500,000 people bought it. She turned rejection into a new business model. People said she planned it all along. Whether she did or not, it worked. In 2003, she shocked the world again. During the MTV Video Music Awards, she kissed Britney Spears. Then she kissed Christina Aguilera. They were all dressed as brides. It was live, unexpected, and impossible to ignore. The moment exploded across the internet and talk shows. Oprah asked about it. Parents complained. Activists debated it. Britney later said they had planned just a small kiss. But right before going on stage, Madonna said to make it real. That one move kept her on every front page. She didn't need a new song. She had a moment. And she kept pushing boundaries. On her 2006 tour, she appeared hanging on a glowing cross with a crown of thorns on her head. Behind her were images of starving children. It was staged in cities all over the world. In Rome, just 2 miles from the Vatican, the backlash was massive. Leaders from different faiths spoke out. They called it offensive and hostile. Madonna said it was a cry for help, not an insult. But the protests grew. People kept talking, and that's how she liked it. In 2011, Lady Gaga released Born This Way. Within hours, people around the world were saying it sounded just like Madonna's 1989 hit, Express Yourself. The melodies felt similar. The message felt even closer. Critics, fans, and music experts all joined in. Madonna didn't wait long to respond. In a 2012 interview, she called the song reductive. The word was sharp, but the way she said it made headlines. Gaga didn't stay quiet either. She called the comparison moronic. Yet in the same breath, she said she was Madonna's biggest fan. It was confusing for the public. Were they enemies or just misunderstood? Madonna took things further during her 2012 world tour. On stage, she performed a mix of Express Yourself and Born This Way. Then without warning, she shouted, "She's not me." Thousands of fans cheered. Online, clips of the mashup went viral. Gaga was stunned. She later said it was surreal to hear her own song in Madonna's show. But she also admitted it felt oddly flattering. Even then, It was clear this feud had become something much bigger than just music. It was now a global drama about who inspired who, and who owned what. The feud went beyond songs. It became personal. Madonna's team believed Gaga was copying her image, too. The cone bras, the religious symbols, the strong messages for LGBTQ rights. Madonna had done it all before. Some fans called it a tribute. Others said it was theft. Madonna privately said Gaga was stealing her soul. She felt Gaga took without giving credit. At the same time, Gaga kept saying she was being herself. Commentators began asking whether Gaga's originality was real or just clever imitation. Madonna's interviews became more emotional. She insisted no one else did what she did. She wasn't just angry, she was disappointed. In 2018, a photo of the two at an Oscars afterparty seemed to show peace. Fans thought the feud was finally over, but signs of tension kept coming back. Madonna once shared a video clip that seemed to mock Gaga again. She deleted it after fans complained. Another time she posted, "Don't F with me Monday," and people assumed it was about Gaga. Meanwhile, Gaga shared that Madonna never spoke to her directly about any of it. That silence hurt her more than anything. Even when they smiled for cameras, something unfinished still hung in the air. Another long-running feud was between Madonna and Elton John. It exploded in public in 2004 when Elton slammed Madonna at the Q Awards. He was angry that she had been nominated for Best Live Act. He shouted that lip-syncing isn't live and said she should be shot for doing it. The room was stunned. Elton had already insulted her in 2002, calling her Bond theme the worst one ever made. He mocked her again in 2012 after her Super Bowl performance. He said she should make sure to lip-sync well. It didn't stop there. He even called her a fairground stripper. For almost 20 years, Elton kept attacking. Madonna never hit back directly. Her team always said she sang live. Finally, after a private talk backstage, Elton apologized. Madonna forgave him. The feud ended quietly, but people never forgot how wild it had been. Madonna also clashed with Mariah Carey. It began in the mid-1990s. In a 1996 interview, Madonna insulted both the justice system and Mariah in one sentence. She said America was the kind of place that bought Mariah's records and didn't care about art. It was a brutal statement. Earlier in 1995, she had already said Mariah lacked originality. Mariah didn't hold back. She said she hadn't paid attention to Madonna since middle school. That line became one of the most famous comebacks in pop music. The bad blood continued for years. Madonna reportedly avoided Mariah at major events. When Mariah won an Icon Award, Madonna was said to be unimpressed. Their feud became part of how people saw them. Two powerful women unwilling to back down. Jennifer Lopez also found herself on the receiving end of Madonna's judgment. In the late 1990s, Madonna dismissed her singing ability and said she was just a product of marketing. Things got worse when Lopez criticized Madonna's acting during her own movie promo tour. That sparked a cold war in interviews and public events. Madonna saw herself as an artist. She wrote her own songs. She pushed boundaries. She didn't think Lopez belonged in that same space. Lopez didn't stay silent either. Their rivalry wasn't just about music. It became a fight over who really earned their success. Kylie Minogue's rise brought another challenge. In 2001, her song Can't Get You Out of My Head took over the world. It topped charts in 40 countries. Her album Fever sold more than 6 million copies by 2021. People started comparing her to Madonna. That didn't sit well with the queen of pop. Madonna reportedly dismissed Kylie's music as lightweight disco. She didn't appreciate being compared to her. Kylie's popularity as a fashion icon and LGBTQ hero only added fuel. Madonna never openly attacked her, but insiders say she didn't want to acknowledge Kylie's rise. Still, Kylie said Madonna inspired her. Over the years, both praised and avoided each other. It was rivalry mixed with respect, and it never really ended. In the early 1990s, Madonna sat down to write a letter that no one was supposed to see. But decades later, that private message surfaced, and it changed how many saw her. In the letter, she described Whitney Houston and Sharon Stone as horribly mediocre. She said she would rather die than be like them. It wasn't just name-calling. It was raw. Madonna confessed that even with all her effort, risks, and success, she still felt ignored. She wasn't chasing fame. She already had it. What she wanted was love and respect. The letter went up for auction, expected to sell for more than $5,000. But it wasn't just the money that made headlines. It was the pain behind the words. It also came from someone close, her former art dealer, Darlene Lutz. The two had fought in court before. This time, the past hit even harder. Sharon Stone chose not to fight back. She answered with kindness and reflection. And in that moment, it was clear this wasn't about rivalry. It was about years of pressure, insecurity, and wounds that never fully healed. Things were no easier at home. In 2008, Madonna's brother, Christopher Sarcone, released a book that shocked their family and fans. He called it Life with My Sister Madonna, but it read like a diary of hurt. For 25 years, he worked beside her as a designer, assistant, and creative partner. Then, in 2001, she cut him off from her tour. That's when things fell apart. In his words, Madonna had always controlled her world, even family. He wrote that she used people, demanded loyalty, and didn't always pay what she owed. Some stories were hard to read. He said she once made him wipe sweat from her during shows, that she accused him of stealing in an email. That was the final break. He called writing the book a release, not revenge, but freedom. He shared details about their childhood, their parents, and how he felt invisible. The memoir sold in the hundreds of thousands. It wasn't just gossip. It was his way of saying he mattered too. Years later, in 2015, Madonna faced a different kind of heartbreak. This time it was about her son Rocco. After her divorce from Guy Ritchie, Rocco stayed with her in New York. But during her tour in Europe, he refused to come back. He chose to stay in London with his father. What followed was a legal tug-of-war that spanned two countries. Madonna fought hard. She went to court in both New York and London, but nothing worked. Rocco blocked her on social media. He said he was overwhelmed. Even though a judge ordered him to return, he stayed in London. Lawyers spoke for the parents. Months went by. Headlines called it a battle. But at its heart, it was a mother trying to reach her child. Eventually, Madonna asked to end the case in England. She said she wanted to heal. Over time, she and Rocco were seen together again. It didn't erase the pain, but it showed that even global icons can break in quiet human ways. Madonna's family didn't stop with her biological children. She also adopted 4 kids from Malawi. But every step was complicated. In 2006, she brought home David. In 2009, she tried to adopt Mercy, but the courts in Malawi said no. They ruled that she wasn't a permanent resident. That would have stopped anyone else. But Madonna kept going. Critics said she used her fame to change the rules. Activists argued that adoption by a celebrity wasn't always a gift. It might also be a burden. They worried about children losing their roots. They questioned if this was charity or something else. Madonna didn't give up. She went to Malawi's Supreme Court and they ruled in her favor. They said her years of charity work showed she cared deeply. Later, she adopted twin girls, Stella and Esther. Still, the questions didn't stop. Was it right? Was it fair? Or was it just another example of power getting its way? Madonna said it was love. Others weren't so sure. But through it all, she kept showing up, visiting, building schools, trying to help.